Hey guys and gals, it's your buddy Drew from Living History's Mysteries and Ferocious Feline Productions. You guys know I absolutely love going through history and researching the strange, the unusual, the mysterious. As you go through not only the history of America, but the history of the world, you do run into a lot of strange and mysterious. But what I really enjoy is just the plain stupid. I mean, there is some really stupid in history. Check this out. This is good.
Sometimes people do the strangest things for the strangest reasons. For these events, we'll use a very, quote, scientific, unquote, scale from 1 to 5 that measures the stupidity level of the event, with 1 being mildly stupid and 5 being incredibly stupid. The Great Emu War. In 1932, the Great Emu War was a peculiar conflict involving the Australian military taking on a large population of emus, a native flightless bird. After World War I, many Australian soldiers were given land to farm. However, a sudden increase in the emu population began to cause significant damage to their crops. In an attempt to control that population, the Australian government deployed soldiers armed with machine guns. The emus, however, proved to be surprisingly elusive and resilient. Despite multiple attempts, the military efforts were largely ineffective. The emus outmaneuvered the soldiers, leading to a failed campaign and some public embarrassment. Never mess with an emu. Stupidity level 3.5. The Cadaver Synod, also called the Cadaver Trial, in Latin Synodus Horrenda, is the name commonly given to the ecclesiastical trial of Pope Formosus, who had been dead for about 7 months, in the Basilica of St. John Lateran in Rome during January in the year of 897 CE. The trial was conducted by Pope Stephen VI, the successor to Formosus's successor, Pope Boniface VI. Stephen had Formosus's corpse exhumed and brought to the papal court for judgment, dressed in his pontifical garb. He accused the dead Formosus of perjury, of having acceded to the papacy illegally, and illegally presiding over more than 1 diocese at the same time. At the end of the trial, Formosus was pronounced guilty and was stripped of his papal robes, his 3 fingers used for blessing chopped off, and his papacy retroactively declared null. All this done to a man that was already dead. A few months later, the people of Rome rioted against Stephen VI, who was imprisoned and strangled to death. Go figure. Stupidity level 7. 1 bonus point for the fingers and another for putting a dead person on trial. The Great Molasses Flood. The Great Molasses Flood, also known as the Boston Molasses Disaster, was a disaster that occurred on Wednesday, January 15, 1919, in the North End neighborhood of Boston, Massachusetts. A large storage tank filled with 2.3 million gallons, 8.71 million meters, of molasses, weighing approximately 13,000 short tons, 12,000 metric tons, burst, and the resultant wave of molasses rushed through the streets at an estimated 35 miles per hour, 56 kilometers per hour, killing 21 people and injuring 150, or 25 people injuring 200 in metric. Just kidding. The event entered local folklore, and residents reported for decades afterwards that the area still smelled of molasses on hot summer days. A great opportunity for anyone who had a sweet tooth. Stupidity level 2.5. Operation Paul Bunyan. Operation Paul Bunyan occurred in the Korean Joint Security Area near the Bridge of No Return, through which the military demarcation line between North and South Korea runs. A 30-meter, 98-foot poplar tree blocked the line of sight between a United Nations command checkpoint and an observation post. On one occasion before the incident, North Korean soldiers had held a group of U.S. troops at gunpoint. Joint Security Force Company Commander Captain Arthur Boniface was then sent to force the North Koreans to stand down and to bring the Americans back to safety, and he did so successfully. However, Boniface was later killed with an axe by North Korean guards. In response to the incident, the United Nations Command determined that instead of trimming the branches that obscured visibility, they would just cut down the tree with the aid of overwhelming force. The operation, named after the mythical lumberjack of the same name, was conceived as a show of force by the US and South Korea and was carefully managed to prevent further escalation. Just cut it out, people. Stupidity level 3. The Pig War. The Pig War was a confrontation in 1859 between the United States and the United Kingdom over the British-US border in the San Juan Islands, between Vancouver Island, present-day Canada, and the Washington Territory, present-day state of Washington. The Pig War, so called because it was triggered by the shooting of a pig who was rooting in an American man's garden and who was owned by a British man, is also called the Pig Episode, the Pig and Potato War, the San Juan Boundary Dispute, and the Northwest Boundary Dispute. Despite being referred to as a war, there were no human casualties on either side. Eventually, the border was altered and peace ensued. Well, there was one pig casualty. Stupidity level 4.5. The Great Stink. The Great Stink was an event in central London during July and August 1858, in which the hot weather exacerbated the smell of untreated human waste and industrial effluent that was present on the bank of the River Thames. The problem had been mounting for some years with an aging and inadequate sewer system that emptied directly into the River Thames, which ran through London. The miasma from the effluent was thought to transmit contagious diseases, and 3 outbreaks of cholera before the Great Stink was blamed on the ongoing problems with the river. Rumor has it that deodorant sales increased. Stupidity level 4. The War of Jenkins' Ear was fought by Britain and Spain between 1739 and 1748. The majority of the fighting took place in New Granada and the Caribbean Sea, with major operations largely ending by 1742. The name derives from Robert Jenkins, a British sea captain whose ear was allegedly severed in April 1731 by Spanish coast guards searching his ship for contraband. In 1738, opposition politicians in the British Parliament used the incident to incite support for a war against Spain. Fighting formally ended with the 1748 Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle. When asked by the British to surrender, the Spanish were said to have not heard them, probably because of the ear. Stupidity level 3.5. The Carnival of Ivrea. The Carnival of Ivrea is a festival in the northern Italian city of Ivrea, which includes a tradition of throwing oranges between organized groups, known as the Battle of the Oranges. It is the largest food fight in Italy and surrounding countries. Regarding the origins, a popular account has it that the battle commemorates the city's defiance against a city's tyrant. This tyrant attempted to molest a young commoner, often specified as a miller's daughter, on the eve of her wedding. The tyrant's plan backfired when the young woman instead decapitated him, after which the populace stormed and burned the palace. Each year, a young girl is chosen to play the part of Violetta, the defiant young woman. Every year, the citizens remember their liberation with the Battle of the Oranges, where teams of arancieri, orange handlers, on foot throw oranges, representing the tyrant's ranks. If you peel back the situation, you have a lot of orange juice. Stupidity level 0.5. The Great Sheep Panic. The Great Sheep Panic of 1888 was an event that occurred on the 3rd of November 1888 across southern England when tens of thousands of sheep fled from various fields near Oxfordshire. At about 8 o'clock that night, thousands of sheep had, by simultaneous impulse, burst from their barns, fields, and dwellings, and had been found the next morning widely scattered, some of them still panting with terror under the hedges, and many crowded into corners of fields, some miles from the fields they had been left in the previous evening. In the end, the sheep had scattered over 200 square miles, 520 square kilometers. The London Times reported on 20 November 1888 that, quote, malicious mischief was out of the question because 1,000 men could not have frightened and released all of these sheep, end quote. The cause apparently remains unknown, but the farmers had been fleeced and mutton would change that. Stupidity level 2. Well, this is it. History isn't always boring. I hope these events made you smile or groan. Stupidity level 0. Thanks for watching.
Welcome back. You know, it's like I was saying at the beginning, I love finding the strange, the unusual, the mysterious points in history. But sometimes you just gotta put the serious to the side and find that weird, stupid from history. Some of these things we've talked about before. Some of them I had planned to talk about in the future. I just don't know how to address these things. I mean, you have millennia of history. And to think that some of the actions of our forefathers, our ancestors, what do you even say about it? I mean, what do you even say about it? I hope you guys enjoyed this look at really stupid in history. It's definitely different. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. God bless you. God love you. We do. We'll see you out there.